And in that environment, transparency becomes more than a principle. It becomes a condition of legitimacy. The court's already doing its part, running the trial as it must, presenting the evidence only to the jury, keeping external pressures outside the door. The jury sees everything. The public does not and cannot, and that's standard. But when the public narrative is already heavily shaped by political messaging, by selective reporting, by ministerial rhetoric, and by commentary that raises questions about what the public cannot see, the legitimacy of the process becomes tied to how clearly the public believes the system is operating. And that's the political test here. Can the British state persuade the public that trials in politically sensitive areas are being handled cleanly, fairly, and free from political influence? Or has the government's own national security framing made that impossible by turning Filton into something it was never meant to be? The real risk is that the government's rhetoric has already overloaded the meaning of the case. When you describe a protest movement as extremist, and when you use one break-in to argue for national security reforms, you create a narrative that the public cannot easily detach from the trial itself. And that's how public trust erodes. Not because of anything inside the courtroom, but because of the noise outside it. So in the end, this trial will conclude in the courtroom, not in the media, and not in Westminster. The jury will reach its verdict based solely on what they've seen and heard, as they must. But the political story the government has built around this case will not end with the verdict. It will continue shaping public attitudes towards protest, towards policing, and towards the boundaries of political dissent. And that's the deeper issue. The Filton trial has become the surface where a much larger conflict is playing out. A conflict over who gets to define dissent, who gets to control the meaning of protest, and how far the state can go in tightening the space in which political action is allowed to breathe.